In this video, I am going to talk about the voice in our heads that we all have. That voice that you may not even be aware of and how it controls your every thought, action, and emotion. It can make you feel happy, sad, anxious, depressed, and so on. When you know how to take control over that voice in your head, also referred to as the ego, you will wonder why you hadn't done it before. To help me take my power back and take control of my thoughts and mind, I've named my voice, or my ego, and called it Roger. I know what Roger looks like, and I also immediately know when he tries to take control of my thoughts. By using the technique outlined in this video, I am now able to recognize him and deal with him without hesitation, leaving me in control of my life. If you've ever found yourself stuck in a loop of negative thinking, you'll definitely want to stick around for this one. My mission is to help people to become more aware and in control of their own thoughts and minds, in order to feel less anxious, stressed, or just plain fed up and more comfortable with their thoughts. If you're someone who struggles with negative thinking, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll be exploring some tips and techniques for taming your ego and quieting those negative thoughts. Roger is the ego inside all of us, the voice in our heads who loves to stir up trouble by filling our minds with negative, repetitive thoughts. He's the voice that tells us we're not good enough, we're not this enough or that enough, that we'll never be successful, we're too fat or too thin, that we're not worthy of love and happiness, or that we're doomed to failure. On and on he goes, with his negative remarks in our minds, controlling our actions on a daily basis. He can make us feel anxious and stressed by filling our minds with negative, what-if scenarios that may never happen. We all have an ego, which is the part of our psyche that's responsible for our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The ego is often described as the self, or the I, and it's the part of us that's concerned with our own interests and desires. It's important to have an ego, as it helps us navigate the world and make decisions. However, when the ego becomes too dominant or out of balance, it can lead to negative thinking patterns, interfere with our well-being, and much more. When Roger is in control, he can have a significant impact on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. He can lead us to doubt ourselves and our abilities, causing feelings of low self-worth and insecurity. He can also make us feel anxious and stressed, as we become trapped in a loop of negative thinking. Roger's voice can also interfere with our daily lives. It can make it difficult for us to concentrate and make decisions, leading to problems at work or school. It can also affect our relationships, as we may become more reactive or irritable when we're caught up in negative thoughts. Overall, Roger being in control can be a drain on our mental and emotional well-being. It's important to recognize when he's in control and take steps to tame him, so we can break free from the cycle of negative thinking and find peace of mind. So, how can we tame this pesky ego and break free from his negative thinking? Here are a few tips. Give it a name and visualize it. Giving your ego a name can be a helpful way to identify and address negative thinking patterns. By giving your ego a name and visualizing what he or she looks like, you can create a tangible representation of the negative thought patterns that plague you. This can make it easier to recognize when your ego is in control and take action to tame him or her. When you imagine what your ego looks like, you can get creative and have fun with it. Maybe your ego is a mischievous sprite, always whispering negative thoughts in your ear. Or maybe he's a gruff, no-nonsense type, always ready with a negative comment. Visualizing your ego can also be a helpful tool for meditation or mindfulness practice. When you sit down to meditate, you can imagine your ego sitting across from you, and work on quieting his negative thoughts as you focus on your breath. Overall, giving your ego a name and visualizing what he or she looks like can be a powerful way to identify and address negative thinking patterns. So go ahead, give your ego a name, imagine what it looks like, have some fun with it, and take back control. Recognize when Roger is in control. The first step in changing any behavior is becoming aware of it. Pay attention to when Roger is speaking up, and make a conscious effort to challenge his negative thoughts. Stand up to Roger. When he starts putting you down, don't let him get away with it. Talk back to him calmly and tell him that you don't believe his lies. When you're caught up in negative thinking, it's easy to get lost in your own head. Take a step back and pay attention to your thoughts. Be the observer and watch what Roger is saying. Don't get angry at Roger, just observe so he knows that you are there watching him. Roger does not like being watched by his human host. If your thoughts are negative and repetitive, chances are Roger is at work. Notice your emotions. Negative thoughts can often lead to negative emotions, such as anxiety, stress, and sadness. Pay attention to how you're feeling and see if it matches up with the types of thoughts you're having. When you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts or feeling bad about yourself, remind yourself that it's just Roger talking. He's not you, and he doesn't represent the truth about you or your worth. Remember, Roger is just an ego, and he doesn't have any real power over you. By recognizing him for what he is and taking steps to cope with him, you can start to take control of your thoughts and feelings and live a happier, more fulfilling life. Remind yourself of your strengths and accomplishments, and don't let him diminish them. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when Roger is being particularly harsh. Remind yourself that everyone has flaws and that it's okay to make mistakes. It's completely normal to have ups and downs in life and to not always feel okay. In fact, it's an important part of the human experience to feel a range of emotions, including sadness, anger, and frustration. Allow yourself to feel your emotions, knowing that you have taken back your power and you are in control of Roger now. These are natural and normal emotions, and it's important to allow yourself to experience them, process them, and move forward. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing your attention to the present moment. When you're mindful, you're less likely to get caught up in negative, repetitive thoughts. Find healthy ways to cope with stress. Stress is often the fuel that feeds Roger's fire, so finding healthy ways to cope with stress can help quiet his voice. Exercise, spending time with loved ones, and practicing self-care are all great ways to reduce stress. Take action. Once you've recognized that Roger is in control, it's time to take action. This can be as simple as acknowledging the negative thoughts, processing them and choosing to let them go, or it may involve seeking support from a therapist, counselor, friend, or family member. Everyone has their own approach on how to deal with their own Roger. There is no right or wrong way, just what is right for you. The important thing is to make a conscious effort to break free from the cycle of negative thinking. We all have an ego like Roger inside of us, but it's up to us to decide how much power we give him. Remember, recognizing and taming Roger is a process, and it may take time. Be patient with yourself and keep working at it. With practice, you'll be able to take control of your thoughts and find peace of mind. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.